that includes the people that are going the wrong way as well as the people that are going the right way. You no stopping us now. Listen, this is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen here on the case for truth, justice, with the right information to help improve the situation. I am anxious to talk to you guys today. I'm telling you, I have been waiting for 3-4 days because of a conversation I had about 3 or 4 days ago with one of my respected friends. He's not a Laker fan, but that doesn't matter. I still respect him and love him. He's also not a fan necessarily of straight ahead logic, but I still love him. He's a friend of mine. He said, as I was discussing the immigration issues, the overabundance of ice is spilling our glass over, and he says, but they're illegal. And they're taking our jobs. I said, wait a minute. What are you talking about? He says these people are illegal. They're supposed to get arrested and deported because they don't belong here. I said, but wait a minute. Are we just talking about criminals and people who are really raising hell and doing antisocial things? He says that everybody that's not here legally, that's if they're undocumented, they're not supposed to be here, and they should be deported. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. What about the people who've been here 15, 20 years and, they're contributing to society, they're working, they're paying taxes, sometimes they're paying Social Security and something they'll never get back. But they're contributing it, and the law knows they're here, they've been here, they haven't been running away. So what makes today so different from yesterday, except for the fact that we had somebody say that they're illegal and they should get out of here, and then we're going to turn the police and ICE on them and start deporting them to Alcatraz, San Salvador, and the Sudan, and all of the. He says, well, he's legal, he's the president, he can do all of that. And I said, whoa, cousin, wait a minute. Everything legal isn't right and everything illegal isn't wrong. And there's a big difference between law and rules. God is in charge of the law. When you go jump off a cliff, the law says you're going to come down. You jump out of an airplane, the law says you are coming down. And there's nothing you can do to change it. You can put on a parachute and come down slower, but you're going to come down. Laws are things that we can depend on to happen whether we are being observed or not. You can give me a law that says in the middle, stop at a red light. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know if you ever rode a motorcycle, but if you have ever owned a motorcycle and ridden a motorcycle, and you pull up in the middle of the night to a stop sign and there's no traffic coming from any direction, you're going to run that light because it doesn't make sense. And the thing that makes you know it doesn't make sense is you're on a motorcycle, there's nothing around you, you're free, and you're able to make a decision on your own that says, if I cross this street, it's not going to negatively harm anybody. It's not going to cause any negative effects. This is a rule that I'm willing to break. Now, if it were a law, that means when you decided to go across that street, God would strike you with lightning, or something would happen, some kind of boards would come up that would block you from coming, or you would immediately get snatched up by some drone that would take you to jail because there's a law. And all of the things necessary to maintain that law, whether there's people there to observe you or not, or whether you're going to harm someone or not, just like jumping out of an airplane. That's science, that's a law. But we on the planet are here together. We make rules. R-U-L-E-S, rules. Matter of fact, they call a guy the ruler. We've got a guy who, instead of wanting to be president, wants to be the ruler. And he wants to make up new rules and make you follow them right away. Well, rulers are not folks who depend on thinkers. Rulers, as a matter of fact, to maintain their position, sometimes want to be sure there are no thinkers around, just responders. Do what I told you to do. We've had daddies and mommies who fall into the realm of, it's too hard to worry about this kid, trying to get this kid to think logically, because then sometimes the rules I set, he'll realize are just rules. So you ask dad, well, why dad? Why mom? Why, uncle? Because I said so. Well, that's not a law, that's a rule. And we see many people who understand that and look at you like you're crazy when you tell them they're illegal. They don't belong here. The law says, no, we have to operate with compassion. We have to operate with understanding. We have to operate with the fact that we're here to make life better for ourselves, and I believe that it shouldn't take you long to realize that if you are using your life to make your life better for yourself by making it miserable for other people, something's going to happen. The word revolution comes up from somewhere. It comes up from people who've decided that the ruler is out of line and the rules don't make sense. I'll tell you one thing that most of us would agree about in terms of something that was an extreme legal condition that lasted for years. It built America. It was the institution of slavery. Totally legal. Totally legal. Oh, if you were a black person during the realm of slavery, any white person could tell you what to do and cause havoc in your life immediately if he decided to. Matter of fact, that was one of the things that allowed poor white people to support super rich white people. Because though the poor white people didn't have the riches of the super rich white, they were at least not black. And they could prove that they had some superiority somewhere, some authority, by mistreating a black person. Well, that was years. Wait a minute. I started to say that was years ago. But it appears that the ruler would like to bring those days back again. Let's make America great again. Listen, white supremacy is a rule that only lasts as long as the folks decide to let it last. And it doesn't last very long. People, we are in America. I think all of us, as we grew up, play America, America. It's a shining light for people all over the planet. And we used to be so proud of the fact that we were the one place on the planet that no matter where you were raised, no matter where you came from, you wanted to be in America because America is fair and square. America is New Testament Christianity. Forgiveness. Let's go forward. Let's forgive. Let's not forget, but let's forgive. I mean, Native Americans, they've been forced to forgive. Praise the Lord, they'll never forget. But they've forgiven. How do I know? Because I don't see Native Americans running around causing revolution every day, blowing up buildings. I mean, I do not see them doing the kind of things that I see going on in Europe, where people are upset because they've lost some territory or someone is threatening their ability to maintain their high lifestyle. So I say they've forgiven. There's much to be forgiven. There's much to be dealt with. But America is the place that it takes place. Except now we've got people who are saying things like, and I'm talking about a black man. My brother, my black man, says to me, they need to be deporting these people. Deporting. What do you mean they need to? Because it's legal. I mean, is there something that these people have really done that makes them worthy or real subjects to go to be in alligator Alcatraz? Living in little cages? Not even living, just existing? And sometimes it may be a real criminal. But we've got laws about how criminals should be treated. And what if this person is a actual American citizen who has done nothing wrong except, in the eyes of someone else, have too much of a tan? We are losing our war as we attempt to win a battle of acquiescence to someone that is extremely charming, no doubt one of the best con men on the planet ever, and making Kool-Aid that apparently tastes really good. I don't know, because I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. And I would advise you not to drink it because it really makes you act funny. It makes people start thinking that, well, I'm saying, using the word thinking, but that's not what they're doing. They're rationalizing, they are accepting the misinformation from a person that they've seen lie over and over and over and over and over and over again. Documented that he's lying. Documented because it's even in his book where he talks about the great way to make a deal. If you tell a lie, keep telling a lie over and over and over, and people will start to believe it. No, that's not true. That'll never happen. But it does. You've got people who actually think this man is the law and order person. January 6, 2020, he led a revolution. He led a war against the United States. The next day, 2 days later, he said, well, that's not true. But the next day, everybody who saw it acknowledged that this was wrong, and he did it. Every Republican that was anywhere around the White House, in the Congress, that had to run for their life, they knew it happened. They knew that was not just some little group of people on a sightseeing tour. So this man, on the first day of being the president again, lets all of these people free. People who beat up on police, caused policemen to go commit suicide because of I can't understand suicide enough to explain why. But we saw all of that. We see all of that. So folks, my theme again is that there's a big difference between the law and the rules. And that's because we are seeing the ruler come up with crazy rules. I want you to understand that I understand that everybody's not following those silly rules. Everybody is not out here trying to take away the good aspects of what America is and what it's supposed to be and what it will be. It will be what it's supposed to be because we're not going to quit. Ain't no stopping us now on this side. We are going to go forward. I say all of that to say that I'm blessed here in the city of San Bernardino to have constantly examples of the right thing taking place in the wrong place, in the right place, in the right time. Good things going on despite what may be suggested as what you should be doing if you want to follow the rules of the unruly ruler. Part of what we want to do today is as you are forced to look at the terrible examples of police work taking place with our people who are following orders. You know, I don't want you to hate the ICE officers. You can't hate them because they are following the rule of law that says, you have to follow and do what the person who is your superior and who tells you what to do. Now, we'd be in terrible shape if Crispus Attucks had done what he was supposed to do as far as England was concerned. We'd be in terrible position if George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and all of those guys had followed the rules that England had set forth. But they didn't. And I advise that all of us who really want things done correctly won't do it that way. So we're blessed today to have with us Mr. Joe Paulino. He is the Chief of Police for the San Bernardino City Unified School District. He is a gentleman with great taste. I love his shoes. I like the way he's a great guy. Joe, how are you today?
Oh, wonderful, Wallace. It's good to be here with you.
Good. Come into that mic a little bit closer. I want to hear what you say. Joe, how long have you been the Chief of Police here at San Bernardino Unified School District?
Next year, Wallace, this is year 15.
15?
Yeah, as a chief. Yes.
15 years. How many riots have you had to deal with your students' body during that time?
I don't know if I'd call it riots. However, there's been some challenges.
Some definite challenges.
Yeah, with our students. However, we've survived them over the years.
Very good. You probably had challenges from the school board as well, though.
Well, all of us have our own challenges and our leadership style.
Yes,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But you've dealt with your challenges in a very respectful way. When I say respectful, it seems that you have powers, obviously, that you have not used in terms of being able to just go out and overwhelm people. Your officers seem to be respectful of their duty and respectful of the people that they have to deal with in their duty. I have not had any positive or negative experience or direct experience with any of your officers, but I note that we had a video go viral in, I don't know, the last month or two, April, what it was, something like that. There was an incident at Entrepreneurial High School. The gentleman who I was instrumental in providing with his first press pass, Mr. Tyrone Johnson, had just picked up his lunch at the Food for Less and had parked his car over by Entrepreneurial High School and was about to start eating, and he noticed there was a little fracas going on, and he turned on his camera. His camera demonstrated that, Eric, we have that video. This is radio, so a lot of you people will not be able to see this until you go to the podcast and see the live stream. We want to kind of describe what we see here, okay? Because when I first saw it, I kept waiting for one of the officers to pull out their gun and start shooting. And I say that because I'm a parent, I'm a citizen, and what I saw going on with these kids, these students, and they're not grade school students, these are high school students. These are people big enough to pose a threat. Excuse my language, but these are some badass kids. They were just acting out of line as far as me, a parent, a citizen, a resident, was concerned. And I'm wondering, well, what are they doing? Why are they... Excuse me. Let's roll the tape and let's kind of, you help me describe that, Joe. I don't have the greatest eyes in the world, but I'm seeing, is it on now? Is that thing on? Is it rolling? One of the things that we're going to see is that we've got two police officers who are trying to separate and deal with someone. I think it looks like they're trying to put some cuffs on somebody who had been fighting. There was a fight Tyrone said there was a fight going on, and by the time he's turned his tape on, the police had gotten there and were separating the people. And they were not they were not surrounding them or rounding them up, putting them in a car to take them off somewhere. They seemed to be trying to de-escalate the situation. And they were so effective, I think, in demonstrating that they are trying to be helpful, that it gave life to the students. I think we'll see a point here where we'll see a young lady walk over to where the policeman is and knee him in the side. We go further into the video and we'll see where one of the people actually grabbed and pushed the officer, grabbed one of the officers by the hair. There was some support coming from city police, I think, toward the end there. And I don't know what happened to these students, but when I looked at the video, the thing that I was overly impressed with was the restraint that your officers showed. It was as though they were dealing with their kids. It was as though they were dealing with kids in the way they would want someone else to deal with their kids. I'm sure that there are other police departments and situations that look at this and use it as a video to say, this is why we want to handcuff them right away and all that, because your officers were really, could have been in danger had that been another level of situation there. What is your response to how your officers responded? I applaud it. I think they did the greatest job that could have been done under those circumstances. And I still say that those were some bad acting youngsters, and they need to be disciplined. But they don't need to be shot. They don't need to be strung up upside down and beaten, until they confess every sin that they've ever done. And, so let me ask you, your response to this, and what do you expect out of your officers in this kind of situation?
Yeah, definitely, Wallace. And of course, every school year we have the opportunity for situations to escalate to this. However, this is a rare situation that police officers encounter, especially us. I often say that we have over 45,000 opportunities every day to encounter situations like this. And then you double that with the number of parents that we deal with. So, of course, I think the men and women of our police department do a work in support of educating kids. So we come from that perspective. And, of course, as a leader, as a chief, my guiding principle in terms of leadership is Desmond's work, where Desmond says, my humanity is bounded in yours. Okay. So we can only be humane together. So my edicts to young police officers or police officers that work for our department is that regardless of what a person does, we're going to treat them humanely. And of course, it starts off with the way we recruit young police officers or police officers in our department. We're looking for good people, people that can be patient with our kids, that can demonstrate good leadership, that are disciplined, people that can supervise themselves.
Very good. And
of course, those is highly trained. You don't respond to a dynamic situation like that without being highly trained. To be able to, what they say, the more informed you are, the more better you are at doing your work. So, Wallace, I'll tell you, and the men and women that responded here, they did what I believe exceptional work, which is an example for police force across our nation. Now, some stuff that we could get better at, right? In terms of we should make sure a person is handcuffed and handcuffed properly, right, so they don't slip their cuffs. But then in terms of example of how we should treat our community, especially the least of us, in terms of our kids, it's demonstrated in this video. And of course, every day we do work in support of the educational processes, excellent work. But every so often, these situations gets broken. Them, of course, we don't control that variable. Every day we respond to stuff, and we don't know what we're responding to. However, I applaud the men and women of the department. When they respond, they do their best. And because they do their best, they arrive at this place called success, right? Isn't that leadership? So, of course, a part of my thrust, along with my command, my command team, is to make sure that we lead in the way, that we hold ourselves responsible. It's like a man that don't use profanity. I believe it's no need for profanity. So when you look at this video, if you are able to hear the audio to it, you don't hear profanity.
Okay.
So that's what we want from our police officers
Okay.
when we encounter them. So of course, we make sure that we have good people doing this work, that we follow the policy. Earlier you was mentioning the rules. I think our Board of Education has done a wonderful job of giving us the parameters to be able to do this work. We don't just arrest and cite people. We give them an opportunity to make sure that they do it right. However, we'll not always not cite or arrest. However, you have to go out your way to be cited and arrested by us. And of course, I'll give you some numbers.
Okay.
Over those 15 years, we've reduced citations and arrests by over 85% across the board. And those are serious numbers. However,
85%.
85%. I can remind you a couple years back where I came in and we had a conversation about a study done by the Center for Public Integrity in regards to the number of arrests and citations that we was given in our system. And of course, collectively as a team, we saw those numbers. And all of us was disturbed by it. And we're like, what can we do better?
Well, getting cited and arrested by school police has a permanent mark, does it not?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so when we are not, I guess, super sensitive, and I think it takes some super sensitivity, not just being sensitive, because sensitive leaves a lot of room for my feelings to be hurt.
Right.
But super sensitive says that I'm going to be sensitive to my commitment to my job and understanding that I'm dealing with, in the case of these students, a lifetime of reputation that's going to be responding to how I respond to what they're doing now as children. One of the things that we have been very concerned about with our kids is how black and brown children, it seemed, were getting more referrals to situations or from situations that actually put a mark on their record, to the point of where some of them, it just didn't make sense to go back to school anymore. They actually got to a point where, well, this occurrence is the one that's going to send you to juvenile hall, or this occurrence is the one that's going to cause you to be suspended, and this number of suspensions is going to cause you to have to go to a special school, or going to put some type of barrier to your excitement about education and our school system.
Yes, so I'll say this, and this is my 29th year in the school district, and a large amount of years I've been on the cabinet. So we have a cabinet, and of course, you're familiar with Mauricio Arellano,
Yes.
our current superintendent. So we have assistant superintendents across the board that's conscious about what you're saying. So of course, even those numbers are a reduction because of the accountability that we have on the system to make sure that we're paying attention to those that's affected by that. Of course, back to this arrest and citation piece. Our police officers every year go through a slew of training. One of them is de-escalation, et cetera, right? And of course, one of them is this customer service piece. how do we service the community? And we're the community when they see us, and they're happy to see us because they know the end result is that they will be dealt with appropriately, right? It's not what's done, it's how it's done. And it's the same thing with what's said. If I'm going to say something, I should say it appropriately, professionally,
Yes.
right? Properly, respectfully. So, of course, again, we believe that all our students, their parents, the entire community, and regardless of who they are or where they're at, has value. So, of course, we treat them with the value and of course, a man like me said the golden rule, right? I was reading this morning, and of course, in Matthew talks about the golden rule. That I want for you, I should want for myself.
Yes.
And so if I like myself, then most likely I will like you. So we make sure we hold our team conscious and to the golden rule, and where we treat people appropriately. Right. And then this is piece, Wallace, that I believe law enforcement across the board can learn from, especially the educational platform, is where we're all educators. So we should put forth an effort to make sure that all our youths, our parents, our students, whenever we get the opportunity, we educate them. And what they say, the more informed we are, and the better we are as a community. So I, as a chief, I make sure that I have informed men and women that works around me. Probably about 85% of my folks have degrees because it makes them critical thinkers.
Yes.
Not that they're smarter and they can think. I love what one of my coach and mentors says, which is Dean Chris. Dean says, Joe, we need to teach people how to think.
Yes.
So when it gets dynamic like that, we want people thinking, not reacting. We want them responding through their thinking and through the skills, knowledge, and building experience that we've given them.
What kind of training exercises do you take them through to achieve that attitude?
Yes, so of course, every quarter we send them to the sheriff department. And of course, the sheriff department allows for them to go through things like tactical communication, right? And where we learn how to respond appropriately. You may use a profanity, but it doesn't give me the right to respond with a profanity.
Okay.
So, of course, training allows me to be able to pull from information to be able to respond appropriately. Like, sir, thank you. However, we don't need to have a conversation like that. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, I see that you're upset. However, you take a deep breath and just do your best to listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Right? We don't use words like "shut up."
Okay.
Right? We're armed. And with the mass amount of data that allows for us to be able to speak to people appropriately and get the response and that we're soliciting from them, because we guide them to that response. We guide them to the response the way we treat them, right?
So you're opening a door for me that says someone possibly who has worked for you may find themselves working for someone else in the future that doesn't want them to think logically, that wants them to simply respond and follow orders. And that should create some kind of quandary for that officer who's been trained to understand humility, humanity, and compassion, who is now being put in a position to say, ignore all of that and just do what I said do. And I have no room in my heart for people who want to fight the police, fight the feds. I've been involved in the movement of sorts throughout my life, and I was blessed to find early on that though we may gather in peace to try to affect our message, that there's going to be possibly someone who sneaks into our being who has a totally different attitude, and they want to use our peaceful profile to render their hostile, terroristic attitudes and actions. We call them agent provocateurs.
Right.
And those folks are around. And to me, the danger there is twofold. One, the immediate direct response that you can cause by throwing a rock. You can actually hurt somebody. Ooh, I want to talk about technology in a minute here. You could actually hurt somebody, or you could cause people around you to get hurt as a result of the response that you cause. It's important that people be able to protest, to be able to express themselves, and to let it be known that they don't like something that's taking place. But I think it's also important that we as a people think logically enough to, and not to grab you into this political position, this statement here, but I believe that we have a president who is very concerned about his own body going to jail, because if he had not got elected in 2020, there's a good chance, in 2024, there's a good chance he'd finally be in jail, because it was moving slow in that direction. And I think the concept of, basic white supremacy was the one that allowed him to move so slow, because I had no doubt that if Obama had been the president on January 6th, the past president on January 6th, 2020, that they would have arrested him that day. That's January 7th, 8th, he would have been in jail or under charges or under house arrest. But because it was Donald, the mouth, charismatic, blonde, blue-eyed, promise of great things for white people again. And folks, let me say this. If you're an African American in America, chances are you got an aunt or an uncle who passing for white, or you got white blood in you. I don't hate white people. If I hated white people, I'd have to hate people in my family, and I'm not going that far. But I can recognize race differences without being racist. And if you don't believe that there's a movement for white supremacy, you're not looking at the history of America. And that's why some people don't want you to look at the history of America. I think that our president wants confusion and chaos. I think our president wants to have a big response to the feds that would make everybody sympathetic to the fact that there is a riot. As a matter of fact, he's called what's taken place in Los Angeles in response to ICE as a riot. He's done everything he could to make people feel that California is under a total revolution and we need to have the feds come out and keep people safe.
Hey, Wallace, I was going to comment on your quandary that you gave a person and that you believe should address something. I believe we have to give ourselves permission to be able to be courageous, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's said that oftentimes a man will compromise one's value, but they won't compromise their principles. That's why I love studying pillars of history like Nelson, Desmond, and Mahatma Gandhi. And these are men of principles. Mm-hmm. So it's like, regardless of what the consequences is, I will speak up. Especially for those that are being ostracized, suffering, et cetera, et cetera. So, of course, for us, we have to educate our community.
Yes.
On things like that. Y'all get what's going on across the nation. However, it's up to us to hold the line, to make sure that we don't compromise our principles,
right,
and start treating people
yes,
the way the system
wants
us
to be treated.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's important that we hold the line in terms of our principles, right? We still have to make a living, et cetera. However, we don't have to do it in a way where I abuse you as a human being, or some other human being abuse me because they believe they have authority or power, right?
Well, that's the point of our adherence to our religion and our spiritual essence. Forgiveness. And if there was nothing to forgive people for, that would be different. But we are confronted on a daily basis with the opportunity to either forgive or fester. We allow these things to fester in our hearts, in our being, and we will turn into that thing that we find that's oppressing us, or we will continue to have faith, move forward, and understand that challenges are opportunities to demonstrate our strength and our principle. And that's like my father was a bricklayer, and it would be easy to just drop that brick on the mortar and keep on going. But I noticed he always wanted the brick to be straight so that, fit the line of the last one, and made it easy to know where to put the next one, and moved the cement out of the way so that it looked clean and clear. And that was his principle. He wanted to be able to come back to the job next year, point to it with pride and say, I did that. And I know that part because he would take me around and show me houses that he built and say, look at that. Just look at that brickwork. Now look at that brickwork across the street so you see what I'm saying. And look at what we did and look at what they did. And so it's important to understand that good things will last. Bad things will be remembered, but they don't have to last and they don't have to live in our hearts. Joe, your training method for your officers, the idea that they remember that they're not just peace officers of that sense, but they are educators. I commend you, and I wanted to do it loud and clear here on the radio because what you're doing and how you do it is exemplary for everybody that's in your business and everybody that wants to look at your business and say everybody over there is no. You guys set you set a wonderful mark for others to follow, and Mauricio and everyone involved with San Bernardino Unified School City, San Bernardino City Unified School District should be extremely proud of the vision that you have and the accomplishment that they appear to be part of with what you're doing.
So, well, Wallace, I want to thank you for having me here this morning. On behalf of the men and women that stand in line to make sure that kids get educated across our community, we thank you for at least calling our voice to be able to tell our story, that it's not told by somebody else. And of course, I'd like to thank the community for always having good hospitality for the men and women as well. Every so often I'll show up at the station, there's, cop foods there, donuts as well as pastries. So,
well, is there any
in
special,
advance, thank you.
I mean, you guys get your quota of peach cobblers and banana puddings? Is there?
Well, we can't afford that. However,
well,
if you
I'm
want to
just saying,
send
the
some.
people that are here that could say thank you. I mean,
Right.
What can the community do? Is there some specific things they can do to show support for what you are doing and would also be supportive of our children in our school district?
Yes, so of course, the first thing the community can do, if you believe that you have an issue that we can help resolve, don't be afraid to call us. And then when you see the men and women of the police department arrive, don't be afraid to smile. They say a smile is contagious.
Yes, it is.
Right, and then of course, in terms of my philosophy, trust me, they'll smile first. They'll smile first. So of course, we want the community to welcome our work because we do our best to do it the right way.
How do you recruit? Do you have enough police officers now? Are you recruiting? How can a person become part of that great team that you have assembled?
Oh yeah, definitely. We got young men and women in our local college. Carrying 12 units, we have a cadet program. If you're at the high school, we have a traditional Explore program that you could be a part of. If you're at a middle school, we have our Junior Explore program. And at our elementary school, we have our Auxiliary Explore program. So we have the stairway and we've created Wallace in the policing. So we probably recruit more of our community's kids on our police department, as well as our campus security corps, to make sure that they know that they could be a part of our team.
Campus Security Corps?
Yeah, exactly. And our campus security officer that works for
Okay.
the district falls under the police department as well.
When I was coming up, we had patrol, what do they call this? Patrol boy. Yeah, with something like that, where where we actually
Not quite a police officer.
well, we were students. I mean, in grade school, and we helped at the corners.
Okay.
We had a little belt and
Oh,
stuff.
got it. Got it.
That we wore to identify ourselves. We were quite proud to be that.
No, definitely.
And even at that point, there was other kids who were, who kind of wanted to look at you funny. But then too, once we put the belt on, we had a different kind of attitude of responsibility, and we let people talk to us a little crazy sometimes, and I'll see you when I take this belt off. Maybe took place a little bit, but no, I was just wondering if we had that type of movement and how early in the school.
Well, yeah, if we have
process
community members that would like to be a part of our team, we have community service as well, where community members like yourself will issue your uniform, swear you in, and have you come help us at events across football games, basketball games, ride out with the police officers. So, yes, opportunities to help. And then there's other areas across the district in terms of volunteer systems, to volunteer on the campus and to be able to make sure that our students are safe.
Well, I
those
wouldn't be
opportunities
myself
are there.
if I let you get away without me trying to tell you how to run your life a little bit. And during the summer, and I wait till the last minute. During the summer, we never have enough activities for the kids. I would suggest that we maybe have a camp, a security camp, where we taught the kids more rules about dealing with each other and dealing with the police and the school police, and you maybe get some businesses to help pay for that, but to give your officers an opportunity to be exposed at another level to the young people during the summer, because the kids definitely need it. And I don't know if maybe you guys need the extra hours or not, but I think being around responsible people is an important thing and asset for our kids. And I just suggest that, Mauricio, you guys need to put some money together so that we can have a summer camp for our young people to understand the principles of safety and getting along with their police and the responsibility of not making them have to work so hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay?
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't do that.
Very good. I mean, the reason you couldn't do that generally is because of money. And so we would need to be able to fund that. And if the schools are able to help take the kids off the street and make them better citizens, I suggest that businesses like mine, even like mine that are not making money, should be able to make some level of support into a program like that, because the better citizens we create, the better lifestyle that all of us will be able to enjoy. And I think that's part of giving, and if you expect to get, you want to give what you get. Right?
Oh, definitely.
So how are we doing over there, young man, with our time? Very good. So I've got time to say this. Everybody ends up wearing his own clothes. The shadow is only where the body goes. Everybody pays, not necessarily a tax, it's more like dues, because the price, that's something your actions choose. So I say, remember, whenever you make one, you make two. One for him and one for you. So be sure that whatever you make isn't more than you want to take. Because sure enough, through the arc, down the line, you're bound to get what you thought was mine. Give love and understanding is what I say. And that'll make life a little easier as things come your way. So God bless us all. I appreciate the time that you spend doing what you do every day, Joe. I appreciate the time that you, I don't know if you get to relax, if you get to hang out at home. I know that you spend good time at church and doing that level of service. So God bless you and good luck with all of that.
Yes, sir. I got a couch that likes me.
You do have a couch that likes you. Very good. All right. I hope all of us have that. Anthony, I appreciate you, brother, for all that you're doing a great job. And I do appreciate the challenges out there that give us the opportunity to show the strength that the Lord gives us every day. Thank you, guys. See you next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing, too if the creek don't rise. God bless you. Thank you for your time. Can't wait till next week. I'll have a great message for you then. Bye.
From Chicago to LA,